Alright, man. Let's just get some world going.
Just wait till we're both on the same. Just remember, this can be edited down. So like we can, we don't have a cameraman, so we're gonna be the guys that do like take 1, take 2 shit. All right. Okay, so ready? In action. Hey there, I'm Danny Mumbles, and this is my program. It'll be chronicling my attempt to get into fighting shape and then hopefully compete in some sort of sanctioned mixed martial arts match. Throughout the course of this show, well, like series or whatever, it'll show both the conventional and less than conventional methods I use to get in shape, as well as featuring some of the homebrew equipment that I put together, maybe with segments of me putting it together or whatnot, because I don't got the biggest budget. Accompanying me on the journey is my training coach, is my best buddy of over 10 years, Stefan. He's ideally suited to the role because he's been involved with athletics most of his life, and the two of us see things differently, so we come at stuff from a different kind of perspective, and he's like a brother to me, so there's a mutual kind of respect situation there, so it's not like, you know, things are going to get out of hand during training. He can hit me and stuff. I'm not worried about him trying to cause harm, and you know, he's a person that, you know, can call me on my bullshit kind of thing. Anyway, so yeah, I'll let this lead off into the first thing about, you know, the first little segment here. Hey there. Since you likely don't know me, I put together a little clip show of just who I am. Anyways, let's roll clip. I was raised by a single mother on my uncle's mountainside acreage, where I've resided for 23 of my 26 years as of the year 2016. Growing up, I was a heavy kid.
Outraging! Wow!
In high school, I topped out at 275 pounds, and none of it was muscle. It was in high school that Stefan and I became friends. Despite having few interests in common, we've forged a friendship that's lasted over a decade. When I turned 18 and graduated high school, I moved out to Alberta. I kicked around Camrose, Round Hill, and Red Deer, being a dishwasher, a bartender, and a door-to-door vacuum salesman, respectively. This provided me a lot of life lessons.
Yeah.
You get one shot.
Oh! Oh! Oh!
Ow, my arm! And my penis! Ah!
Things didn't pan out, and I wound up back home broke. Things started off well, but due to some personal problems, I ended up becoming more and more reclusive, and that's the state of things now. Hopefully this fighting thing will help get me, you know, back out and about. We'll see. Well, I hope that first bit wasn't too boring. Continuing on the theme of getting to know me, here's a little clip show of what I do when I'm not on camera, which is most of the time. Anyways, let's roll that one too. I like to read about a variety of topics, particularly politics, philosophy, and military history of World War II and the Cold War era. I like to play the penny whistle. I like to illustrate, mainly nature scenes and cartoons. I do creative writing and graphic design. I like playing video games on my old PlayStation 2 and PC. I've even used the Preview Moves little demonstrations in various fighting games, Create a Fighter thing, to study the mechanics of a few different grapples and kicks. As I said before, I dig military history. This led to me playing airsoft. Anyway, those are a few of my pastimes. So after watching the first two segments, you may be asking yourself two questions. Number one, why the hell does this dork want to do mixed martial arts? Number 2, will there be more clip shows? The answer to both questions will be answered in this next segment. My overall goal with this project is to learn by doing and then be able to impart that knowledge onto others. So the plan is self-directed training and studies, and then, maybe get some kind of actual proper training or something at some point, hopefully here. And then, ideally go on to compete, and then after having competed for a bit, take the accumulated knowledge and experience, open up a small gym, and then, impart the knowledge onto others so that they can then do it themselves. However, I wasn't always into mixed martial arts, and this wasn't always the plan, right? So I put together a little animation presentation that I hope you'll enjoy. It explains, I guess, the evolution, or whatever you want to call it, of how I went from, pudgy little wrestling fan to MMA person that's interested in that stuff. Anyway, here you go. Well, originally I wanted to get into doing backyard wrestling, but I didn't know enough people who were interested in participating, so that was a no-go. Then I wanted to get into boxing, but when I found out about the ratios of concussions and brain damage and such compared to MMA, I decided maybe the sport of boxing wasn't for me. So now I'm endeavoring to get involved with mixed martial arts, and we'll see how this pans out. As I was saying, my buddy Stefan's going to be my coach / trainer, training coach, whatever you want to call it. Up until this point, I've just been kind of doing shadow boxing. And, trying to build up muscle tone and whatnot on my own. So we've started to acquire like the gear that 2 people use for the things. So a couple days ago, the kicking paddle came in, and it was only $10 online. Before that, this past weekend, we got to try out the focus mitts again, only $10, and it went about as well as could be expected. We did a few different exercises, a bit of the tapping the gloves, and him giving me different sequences of punches, left, right, right, or right, left, whatever it is.
Left, left. Right, right. Right, left, right.
And we did an exercise where he'd kick at me as I would try and make the punches. And at first, it was kind of clear he was a bit reluctant to, really put some mustard into the kick.
Left, left. Left, right.
Right, to really give me a pop there. But I was like, I said, come on, hit me. And, there's a reluctance.
Left, right. Just don't be afraid to kick me, man. Right, left.
And then, I just flat out called him on it, right? I'm like, it's not a big deal. Like, try to assure him that it's not going to be just don't worry about it. Just hit me. No biggie.
Left, left. Don't be afraid to make contact, dude. Right, right. Left, right. Left, right. Come on, dude. Snap that kick. I'm not kicking. It ain't gonna hurt. You're only hitting me in the thighs, man. I'm getting pretty high. What? Because the hill here down. So I was getting up there pretty good. Yeah, but don't worry about it. You can hit me in the ribs or anything. It's not, as long as it's not in the head, it's good. Left, left. Right, left.
And then it, he got more comfortable with it.
Right, right. Left, right. Left, right. Don't be sorry, man. Right, left, right.
And by the end, he was really keeping me on my toes. Like, there was this whole chain, there's this chain combo sequence of kicks that he was, where it was like,
left, right. Left, left. Right, left. Left, left.
and I had to, jump in and deke and dive around pretty quick, and it really kept me, good workout, nice and all. And it was the first time we ever really tried focus mitts, so maybe we didn't do it right. Who knows? Probably not. I mean, we're amateurs. The only instructions I've got are from, videos or books. I've never taken a martial arts class, and Stefan hasn't either. So this is a whole new experience to both of us. But, he got in some pretty decent shots at me that kept me going. And I mean, as time goes on and we get more into the rhythm of doing this stuff, I can only imagine how much, how much more exciting or terrifying or whatever you want to call it is going to be for me when he's with his little feet and kicks and whatever. Anyway, that's my take on what went down last weekend. I mean, not maybe the greatest take, but it is what it is. Hey there. So I figured I'd close out the show today by talking about the maze bag that I put together from supplies that I just found around the house. So inside this, there's 6 layers, surrounding the core of this, there's 6 layers, and there's 8 pounds of like sandy soil in the very core of it. So the 3 innermost layers are plastic bags. Then around the plastic bags is a burlap sack. I used an old rice one that had a zipper in it, fortunately, so I was able to just pack everything in there. Then around the burlap sack is one of those canvas kind of tote bags that they use at the grocery stores all the time now. The reusable grocery bags. That's what this little bow tie bit here is that it gets tied to. And then around that is an old packing envelope that I actually got out of one of the mitts there, the focus mitts. So with an elastic band cinching it around the rest of the bag. And that's just to, help make sure that the stuff inside doesn't get all, the bags inside don't get all torn up when you're hitting this thing, because I doubt I'm using it right, but I hit it in addition to just doing the duck and weave thing to avoid it. So I like to punch at it, even kick at it once in a while, or throw a kick elbow combination. So yeah, I'll hang this up now, and I'll throw a few punches or whatever, or swing it around or whatever the fuck, just to close the show out here. So I hope you've enjoyed the first episode. I know it's kind of a bit of a rough first kind of episode, but I'm an amateur doing this shit, so we'll see how it progresses from here. Hopefully it'll get polished up more, and viewer feedback is always welcome. If you give any tips, they'll be appreciated. If you want to be attributed anything to you in the credits, of course that'll happen. I mean, we're not just going to be like, hey buddy, give us your ideas, rob you, and fuck you over. No, if you give us a tip, we'll give you a title card at the end to show, hey, thanks buddy, you helped us out here. So let's do it to it. Alright, so I swing it like that. Ooh. You can catch us on the Twitter, if you want to.